Ron Hosko, CBS News security analyst and former assistant director to the FBI, joins me now. Ron, how exactly will investigators be able to make sure that the suspect hasn't left any other explosives?
Marina, they've done, I think, a great job of warning the community, putting out the word that there could be other devices out there. They will be looking for evidence of that, whether it's a FedEx receipt for something that's missing to date, looking at his cell phone records to see where he moved around the city, and probably circling that route themselves with many agents just to make sure, almost conducting a sweep of the areas where he was. So I think they're doing as much as they can. And then the other important part of community safety is searching these houses, any locations that he was known to have occupied, to try to remove any other bomb-making materials that might be there.
So, Ron, the fact that he bought these materials from a Home Depot, this alleged bomber looks pretty young. What does this tell you? Is it just that easy to create something like this?
Sadly, I think that is the reality. Look, this is not a kid that we've known to have been involved in with military service, with law enforcement service, where you might have some training to learn how to dismantle, disrupt, deal with IEDs. And so it looks as though this might be just, self-education on the internet, very likely. They, again, will be going into his internet history, looking at everything he has purchased in the past, search, for look at sites that he's been on, and try to understand, is it as simple as that? But yes, it can be.
So since this alleged bomber is dead, what's your sense of how do they go about piecing together what the motive might have been?
Well, it's a lot of it's going to be going through the electronics, going through his cell phone, going through whatever computers are at the residence, talking to family and friends. It sounds as though he had two roommates. Was fairly quiet. I mean, the difficult part for law enforcement in these types of cases is this kid looks like he's just another face in the crowd.
Yeah.
Interviews of neighbors saying he did not pose a threat. He was just a good, quiet kid, played with their kids. And so law enforcement's going to have to dig deeper. And very often you find that in the digital footprint.
Law enforcement talks about how quickly they had to work to get this suspect. They used multiple tools, surveillance, internet searches, eyewitness interviews. When it comes down to this, was this investigative work ultimately what works? How do you narrow in and zoom in on a suspect in a moment like this?
Well, first, I think they did a great job of talking to the community through the media. I see this as really very much a three-way partnership between law enforcement, the media, and the community. I spoke to your folks on Sunday night, and I think based on what I was hearing, that press conference on Sunday told me that they were running low on leads. And so they went back, they generated more interest. Of course, this person perhaps was emboldened by having not been caught and decided he was going to, put out the tripwire package and then the FedEx packages. And ultimately, a lot of gumshoe work, going to stores like Home Depot and other hardware stores, looking for receipts, looking for video evidence. Clearly, it paid off.
Yeah, it certainly did. Ron Hosko. Ron, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.